Satan the Rejected. Brothers and sisters, welcome to another Quran study. We will be reading from chapter 20, verse 40, God willing. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of God, most gracious, most merciful.
Your sister walked to them and said, I can tell you about a nursing mother who can take good care of him. We thus returned you to your mother, that she may be happy and stop worrying. And when you killed a person, we saved you from the grievous consequences. Indeed, we tested you thoroughly. You stayed years with the people of Midian, and now you have come back in accordance with a precise plan. I have made you just for me. Go with your brothers, supported by my signs, and do not waver in remembering me. So this verse is about Moses. God is telling us what happened basically at that time. Um, because when you look at the other scriptures or the information that people receive from each other, most of the times they change the information, right? So God sent this book, this Quran, to tell us about the previous messengers and prophets, and He tells us exactly what happened there, right? Now with the Quran, we can exactly say what happened with Moses, that his sister, she went to the Pharaoh's place because Moses was not taking milk from other women, right? And this was, of course, according to God's plan. And then, eventually, when the mother of Moses left him into the put him into the river Nile, she was, of course, like a mother. You are very concerned about your child, but God is very merciful. So, in with this plan, by letting the sister tell them that there is a woman who can nurse the kid, eventually they came together, and Moses was nursed by his own mother instead of someone else. And this was a plan that started many years ago. Um, um, so the mother of Moses, she was scared that something was going to happen to her, but God gave information about the future. This was also something that we had talks about. For example, the talks that we had about Apophis, that God gives only information to messengers, but we learn from this from the verses before. In 39 we can read saying, throw him into the box, then throw him into the river. The river will throw him onto the shore to be picked up by an enemy of mine and an enemy of his. I showered you with love from me, and I had you made before my watchful eye. So God tells us about what is going to happen in the future with Moses, also to the mother of Moses. And this is evidence that God can tell the future also to a person which is not a messenger. So it's not only bound with messengership. You can also receive certain information from God if God wants about the future. So he says, I have made you just for me. Go with your brother, supported by my signs, and do not waver in remembering me. Go to Pharaoh for the transgressed. Speak to him nicely. He may take heed or become reverent. Also, this is an example for us, right, on how we need to talk, need to speak to people who don't accept the message yet. Maybe there is a possibility that the people who don't accept the message, they can accept it, right? And then we need to talk in the best manner. Actually, we need to give the message in the best manner. One of the other things what we see here is God says in 41, I have made you just for me. The traditional Muslims, they say that Muhammad, the last prophet, is the highest among the messengers and the prophets. His rank, he has the highest rank. That's what they say. But in the Quran, we read clearly that the believers, they do not make any distinction among the messengers. Um, of course, there are differences in the ranks in God's sight, right? Like for us, they are all the same. But of course, every human being, every person has his own level of growth with his soul. So, but that is something that God knows, right? It's not up to us to say if someone has a higher rank or a lower rank. For us, all the messengers and the prophets are the same. They said, "Our Lord, we fear lest he may attack us or transgress." He said, "Do not be afraid, for I will be with you, listening and watching." So it was not an easy thing for them to do as well, right? Like Moses and his brother, God tells them to go, and they are afraid that he's going to transgress or attack them. Most like there is this possibility, right? Because the Pharaoh was a tyrant, and them fearing that he may attack them is very normal for them. But God tells them not to be afraid, and He tells them that He will be with them and listening and watching. You get this confirmation from God, right? Like He assures you that nothing is going to happen and that He's going to protect you. Like that's also really amazing to know, actually, right? Like God is on your side. Go to him and say, "We are two messengers from your Lord. Let the children of Israel go. You must refrain from persecuting them. We bring a sign from your Lord, and peace is the lot of those who heed the guidance." So Pharaoh is not letting the children of Israel go, right? He is using them as slaves, and God is sending two of his messengers, Moses and Harun, Moses and his brother, to give the information to Pharaoh, right? To talk in a very nice manner, to give him the opportunity to do the good thing, right? And when you read it, he says, like, God tells them what to say, right? He says, "Say, we are two messengers from your Lord. Let the children of Israel go. You must refrain from persecuting them. We bring a sign from your Lord, and peace is the lot of those who heed the guidance. We have been inspired that the retribution will inevitably afflict those who disbelieve and turn away." So we see here, like, Pharaoh is thinking that he's also some kind of a god, right? Like he has so much power and money and wealth, and he has this army, and they are transgressing people, and with this ego, this shows also an example of how the human being can become, right? When you have a lot of power, money, and so many things, eventually people are thinking that they are gods. It's actually very stupid, right? If you think, like, logically, you are being created, you are born to a mother, you need to go to the toilet, you need to eat and drink and sleep. Like, you have so many things that you can't do without, right? Like, if you hold your breath for a few minutes, you can't do that. You're gonna die without air. So this shows us what the ego is, right? Like how dangerous the ego can be for a person. Most people are not kings or queens. They don't have. Most people don't have armies, or they don't have the power that, in this example, like Pharaoh had. So maybe for them it's not as easy to become, like this egoistic person. But since there are so many people like worshiping the pharaoh, right? Even today, you don't have to be a pharaoh. Like, if you have a little bit of money, or you are the ruler of a country or something, like, people immediately start to talk differently to you, do whatever you say. And because they expect, or they think that, when they think that they can benefit from you, then they are gonna be extremely nice to you, and do whatever you want, because they think that you have the power and you can do certain things. So this is an example of what the ego can do to a person. But in these verses, we read that God gives the opportunity to that person to take heed and to repent, to make a change and let the children of Israel go. He said, "Who is your Lord, O Moses?" He said, "Our Lord is the one who granted everything its existence and its guidance." He said, "What about the past generations?" He said, "The knowledge thereof is with my Lord in a record. My Lord never errs, nor does he forget. He is the one who made the earth habitable for you and paved in it roads for you. And he sends down from the sky water with which we produce many different kinds of plants. Here we see Pharaoh asking like, "Who is your Lord?" and Moses answering him like he granted everything its existence. He's the one who created everything, right? Then Pharaoh is asking like, "What about the past generations?" And Moses gives, mashallah, a very good answer. He says, "The knowledge thereof is with my Lord in a record. My Lord never errs, nor does he forget." We also get this type of questions mostly. You know, when we talk about the miracle of 19, which is being found in 1974 by Dr. Rashid Khalifa, you would always, you know, get this question about like, okay, the Quran has been revealed 1400 more than 1400 years ago. What about all the people that didn't know about the miracle of 19, right? Like what about them? Why was this hidden? Why is this miracle not being known to those people? And the best answer would be like the same answer that Moses gave to Pharaoh, right? Like God knows about the past generations, and He never errs, and He does not forget. He knows exactly who deserves what. So the miracle of 19 being revealed in 1974, it was meant for that time. It was meant for Dr. Rashid Khalifa to do it. He was the person chosen by God to reveal the miracle. And we should not forget that one of the important information about the humankind is that before the 1900s, the amount of human beings who came to this world, if I'm not mistaken, was about 7 billion, right? And the vast amount of humans are going to be living in this world after the 1900s. If I'm not mistaken, it was about 70 billion. So the vast amount of humans are going to be held responsible for the Quran, for this book. So the majority of the humans who will come to this world are going to know about the Quran and are going to know about the miracle of 19. So when you look at this, you know, within this perspective, like it makes really sense, right? Like because the question is also like, why didn't God revealed the miracle of 19 1400 years ago, right? Of course there are answers for this. One of the answers is, you know, the messenger also talks about that. He says if this was in the time of Prophet Muhammad, they would very immediately make a god out of him, right? They would idolize him like they idolized Jesus. And of course the miracle of 19 is something that had to do with the computer age. You know, you need calculators, you need like the computer to calculate these huge amounts of digits, you know, to be able to see the answer, right? When you have a large amount of digits, dividing that by 19, it's almost impossible at that age, like 1400 years ago. We just had the technology with the computer coming to be able to, you know, do the calculations and to accept them as evidence and proof. So this is one of the things that we could say to, you know, what about the past generations? Why didn't they receive the message, or why didn't they know about the miracle of 19? And God knows best. He knows exactly who deserves what, and He knows exactly which souls He is placing into this world at what time. And we put our trust in God, right? He never forgets. He is the one who made the earth habitable for you and paved in it roads for you. He sends down from the sky water with which we produce many different kinds of plants. Eat and raise your livestock. These are sufficient proofs for those who possess intelligence. And the footnote says, those who possess intelligence appreciate the fact that we are astronauts who were launched into space on this spaceship Earth. God provided us with renewable food, water, pets, wildlife, and livestock as we embark on this temporary space odyssey. Compare God's provisions to spaceship Earth with the provisions we gave to our astronauts. Appendix 7. So the Messenger of the Covenant gives a good example of you know, how we should understand the human beings living on Earth. Like today we are sending astronauts to outside of the world, right? And then we need to build these very complicated machines and spaceships where the human beings, where they can eat, breathe, go to the toilet, sleep, and move. So because it's very difficult to do that, right? Like, it's not easy to live in outer space where there is no gravity. Here in this world there's gravity, and we need to appreciate this, because everything would be extremely difficult to do for us if there was no gravity. Imagine, even walking would be extremely difficult for us if there was no gravity. But we are born in this world with gravity, so for us it's very normal, right? We take that granted, but actually we need to understand that everything that God has created, there's a purpose behind it, right? And we should we should think about it. We should use our minds and think about all the provisions that God has given us. It's not only food and money, right? Like, it's not only those things. There are so many things around us. When we think about it, how God made this system in this world, which is habitable for us. There are roads where we can walk. We have the sea. We build ships. We use it for transportation. Imagine if there were no ships and no sea, right? Like, when you think about the day of today, the world of today, you have these huge ships with like lots of cargo, shipments coming from China to USA or to Europe or to other places of the world. For example, an airplane, you can also use the airplane, of course, that's also been used for, but it takes a lot of energy, and you cannot put that much, stuff. You cannot put that much stuff on a plane, but on a huge ship, you can put like containers, like extremely a lot of containers. You can put it there, and these are all because of God. God made the sea for us, and He talks also about ships and that we use it as transportation. And smart people, if we are intelligence, we need to think about all these things that God has made for us. And in the Quran, God, He tells this continuously. He tells us, for people who possess intelligence, here are the sufficient proofs and evidences. We can look to the totality of the world, the stars, the sun, the many things that God has created for us. We as submitters, especially, we need to think of everything. We shouldn't take those things granted. The things that we eat, the clothes that we are putting on, right? The cars that we are using, all these things are excuses for us to remember God. Actually, we need to, that's basically it, right? We need to use every opportunity and everything around us as an excuse to remember God, and know that it's all because of Him, and He is the one who created everything, and He is the one who created this system. God says, from it we created you, into it we return you, and from it we bring you out once more. We showed him all our proofs, but he disbelieved and refused. He said, did you come here to take us out of our land with your magic, O Moses? So, what we see here is he's asking, who is your Lord, right? And then Moses is talking about, who God is, that He created everything, that the guidance is with Him. He also talks about the earth, right, the sky, the water that comes, the rain that comes with. So we can also produce many different kinds of plants therein because of that. Because if there is no rainwater, we cannot produce food for ourselves, right? Like, these are all within the system of God. And Moses is talking about these things, so maybe Pharaoh would reflect on it, right? Like, he should know that he is not the one who is controlling the rain, right? Like, Pharaoh is not the one who's controlling it or anything else, or he is not the one who creates food for the people. He himself needs that food to eat and to survive. So, but again, he said, did you come here to take us out of our land with your magic, O Moses? He says that this is magic. What happens here with this situation? We will surely show you similar magic. Therefore, set an appointment that neither we nor you will violate, in a neutral place. So he's thinking that Moses is doing magic. Most probably at the time of the Pharaoh and Moses, magic was like the thing. In our world of today, technology and AI, and that type of things, industrial revolutions, making these gadgets, internet, like those things are like special, right? And at the time of Moses, magic was a thing in Egypt. So he is thinking also in that manner. He thinks that those things are magic. And he says, we will surely show you similar magic. Therefore, set an appointment that neither we nor you will violate in a neutral place. He said, your appointed time shall be the day of festivities. Let us all meet in the forenoon. So they are preparing this moment where they are going to show certain magic, but Moses is not showing magic. It's like Pharaoh's people. They are you have the magicians, and because Pharaoh is thinking that Moses is doing magic, he wants to, do the same thing and disprove him. But of course, he can never win from God. Pharaoh summoned his forces, then came. Moses said to them, woe to you! Do you fabricate lies to fight God and thus incur his retribution? Such fabricators will surely fail. They disputed among themselves as they conferred privately. They said, these two are no more than magicians who wish to take you out of your land with their magic and to destroy your ideal way of life. So this is what they are thinking. It's like very to the point. They think that Moses is doing, and they are afraid that Moses are gonna take them out of their lands. Let us agree upon one scheme and face them as a united front. The winner today will have the upper hand. They said, O Moses, either you throw or we will be the first to throw. He said, you throw. Whereupon their ropes and sticks appeared to him because of their magic, as if they were moving. So we see here, like they have these sticks and their ropes. They're like, it's an illusion, right? They made it appear as if the ropes and the sticks are moving. Moses harbored some fear. We said, have no fear, you will prevail. After seeing that, what they did, because it's an illusion, he's seeing like, normally when you are standing there and you see someone throwing a stick and the stick is going to move or the rope is going to move, imagine that person seeing this for the first time, right? Like Moses harbored some fear in it. But God says, we said, have no fear, you will prevail. Throw what you hold in your right hand, and it will swallow what they fabricated. What they fabricated is no more than the scheming of a magician. The magician's work will not succeed. So then the experts recognized the truth. The magicians fell prostrate, saying, we believe in the Lord of Aaron and Moses. So, after Moses throwing his thing, what he has in his hand, probably his own stick, he threw that. And then what happened is it swallowed the things that the magicians had thrown, right? And when the magicians saw that happening, they immediately fell prostrate and they said, we believe in the Lord of Aaron and Moses. They accepted it because they are the experts of magic, right? Like they know of how to do illusions. So they immediately recognized that this was not a magic. This can't be done. This is really amazing. And then these people were truthful people. So when they saw it, they prostrated. And they accepted what they accepted, and they started believing in the Lord of Aaron and Moses. And he said, did you believe in him without my permission? He must be your chief, the one who taught you magic. I will surely sever your hands and feet on alternate sides. I will crucify you on the palm trunks. You will find out which of us can inflict the worst retribution and who outlasts whom. So Pharaoh, sending his own people, bringing his own magicians, trying to, show that Moses was doing magic. But when the magicians came and they saw what happened, they saw that this was not magic and that this was really a miracle. They recognized this. But Pharaoh, because of his ego, of course, even that he didn't accept. And, he immediately said, you started to believe in him without my permission. And he said, he must be your chief, thinking that um, they made an agreement with each other. Moses made an agreement with them that all these things, but when a person is not going to believe, it doesn't matter how many miracles they are going to see, right? If you show them 10 miracles, it's not going to make a change. If they are destined for hell, they are going to be blind towards all the miracles that God is sending. They said, "We will not prefer you over the clear proofs that came to us, and over the one who created us. Therefore, issue whatever judgment you wish to issue. You can only rule in this lowly life." So these magicians, they accept, they say, even if you're going to kill us, it's not going to make any change. We are not going to prefer, like they prefer the clear proofs. They see that this is a clear miracle and it's not magic, right? And because they were righteous people, even Pharaoh telling them that he's going to kill them or like crucify them, they say it's not gonna matter for us because eventually we're gonna die, and then it doesn't matter what he eventually, because Pharaoh is also gonna die, right? And he says you can only rule in this lowly life. So they quickly understood what the situation was and accepted. So this is also possible, right? Here we see like a group of people, a group of magicians accepting the message after seeing miracles, but we know that what is going to happen eventually. God says that after all the miracles that are given to Moses, there were only two that were believers, right? In the whole group of when Moses when the children of Israel um, left Egypt and they were saved, eventually they also saw many miracles, and they didn't believe eventually. But here we see a group of magicians, righteous people. After seeing it, they accept the truth. So that's also possible. We have believed in our Lord that He may forgive us our sins, and the magic that you forced us to perform. God is far better and everlasting. Anyone who comes to his Lord guilty will incur hell, wherein he never dies nor stays alive. As for those who come to him as believers who had led a righteous life, they attain the high ranks. God, when in the Quran, there is a verse where God says um, about the ranks, right? Like how to have a higher rank depends on how righteous you are. Like the more righteous you live, your rank will go up, right? Like it doesn't matter if you are a messenger or a prophet, or if you're a normal person, right? Without being a messenger or a prophet, because most of the people, they think that messengership or prophethood gives someone a higher rank, but God says in the Quran that righteousness gives you the higher rank. So a person who is not a messenger can still have a higher rank than a messenger that God has chosen between the people, right? That is possible. And we can see examples in the Quran. But this is also like something which the devil used to idolize the messengers and the prophets. He made he made idols out of them, telling people that because that person is a prophet or a messenger, that person cannot make any mistakes, um, you know. And eventually they became gods for certain people. Like today, in the Muslim world, they mention Muhammad's name more than they mention God. And when they mention Muhammad's name, they use extra sentences to give him a higher rank. Like they do salawat and they do certain things. But when they say God, they just say only God. Yeah, they elevate him, mashallah. Yes. As for those who come to him as believers, who had led a righteous life, they attain high ranks. The gardens of Eden, beneath which rivers flow, will be their abode forever, which is the reward for those who purify themselves. We inspired Moses, lead my servants out and strike for them a dry road across the sea. You shall not fear that you may get caught, nor shall you worry. Like, this is the way how God saved the children of Israel from Pharaoh. Like, he's sending a prophet, he's sending actually also Harun. Like, you have here two messengers going to Pharaoh, first talking to him, giving him information, showing him the evidences and the proofs, with the miracles, to convince him like that they are sent by God, and that he needs to stop doing what he is doing, and that he needs to accept that there is a God. And they talk in a very nice manner. So all these things are happening first, and because the Pharaoh didn't accept any of those things, and he still blamed them of doing magic, or doing certain things behind his back to trick him. Eventually, the children of Israel go out of Egypt, and they are being saved by God, and this was God's plan for them, right? And you can't change God's plan. No one can do that. Like, how can Pharaoh, a human being, fight against God? You will never win. So, and we can see here is God says, lead my servants out and strike for them a dry roads across the sea. They go through the sea, right? And eventually, in 78, it says, Pharaoh pursued them with his troops, but the sea overwhelmed them, as it was destined to overwhelm them. Thus Pharaoh misled his people, he did not guide them. Um, yeah, like he was behind them, right? Chasing them. And when they came into the area where the sea level were up, they were like walking on dry land where the sea is. And eventually, when Pharaoh came, he was drowned in uh, the sea. And God says, thus Pharaoh misled his people, he did not guide them. O children of Israel, we delivered you from your enemy, summoned you to the right side of Mount Sinai, and we sent down to you manna and quails. So, this is the story which God tells us what happened to the children of Israel. Of course, after that, many other things happen. But there is a reason why God is telling us all these stories, right? Like what happened with the children of Israel, or with all the other people where God sent messengers. And what I see in most of them is, you have two type of people. One who eventually believes after seeing miracles, or after meeting or listening to the messengers, or the prophets. And then the other side is the ones who are, it doesn't matter how much evidences or how much miracles they see, they eventually don't believe in them. And in almost all of them, God punishes the ones who don't believe in the messengers or the prophets that God has sent. Because there is a responsibility for you when God sends information, and he proves that the information is right by also showing miracles. It's the responsibility of that person to believe in it. Because why would you not believe in that certain thing if it's a miracle, right? It's something that's actually impossible, but it still happens, right? And it's not magic. By letting the magicians submit, God is also showing to Pharaoh that he proves that this is not magic. He says, look, even the experts admit that this is not magic. This is truly from God. But Pharaoh, of course, loses because he follows his ego, and that's why one of the most important commandments in the Quran is to kill your ego. That's very important. And the reason why we are in this world is also because our own egos, right? That's why we are in this world. So with that, God willing, I will finish. It's not 40 minutes, 34, but if I made any mistakes, may God forgive me. And if there are any questions or things that the brothers and sisters want to add, please go ahead. MashaAllah. Yeah, MashaAllah. I have also a little bit cough on my throat. Sorry for that. Yeah, maybe we can talk a little bit about the message that God gave to Moses' mother, right? Like telling her about the future. It's an important topic since we hear that a lot, right? About us not being able to tell certain things that will happen in the future with the signs that we received from God. Yeah, so he says, these are God's laws. These are God's laws. Those who obey God and His messenger, He will admit them into gardens with flowing streams. 42, 42, 51. Oh, wait, let me see. I think it's this one. Mercy from God. Learn from that God sends messenger to communicate. Let me open other. Oh, wait. Yeah, I'm. Oh, 42, right? 42, yes. Oh, let me go to consultation. Oh, sorry, 51. Let me see. Oh, I can just immediately go to it. 40, 51. Oh, it sends His teachings to us through His messengers. This is. No, it's not that one. No. Yeah, yeah, I heard the brother. Yeah, I'm searching there. Let me check. Okay. Almost. I'm almost there. One second. Okay. Yeah, I don't really. Yes, here it is. I found it, brother. How God communicate with us. 51. No human being can communicate with God except through inspiration, or from behind the barrier, or by sending a messenger through whom He reveals what He wills. He is the Most High, Most Wise. MashaAllah. Yeah, so it's through inspiration as well, right? Or from behind the barrier. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Only to say what's gonna happen, like when the retribution is gonna come. Yeah, and then and then left. Yeah. So, but when we read the Quran, it's very clear. 40, 48. You said, brother. 51. Right. In this chapter, in this verse, we can read clearly that also God can communicate with us through inspiration. Yeah. So this doesn't mean that we need to be like messengers or prophets. We don't have to be.
you know? And we're not
Mhm.
claiming that. So you can't say like you're not a messenger if you're saying that stuff, it's just a little ridiculous
Yeah,
on
the
that front
thing
as
is,
well.
when you say things that are going to happen in the future with such certainty, we say no, this is definitely going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
and then people get a little bit how to say, like maybe afraid or a little bit concerned that if it's not going to happen, then
Mm-hmm.
eventually the people who are listening to you will not listen to you anymore, or
Mm-hmm.
the way how you um, they're afraid that
Yeah.
it's going to be like you're
But I
going to
mean,
be
right.
humiliated.
But I mean, let's think about the example that we read about Moses' mother, right? I
Hmm.
mean, how precise was that information that God sent for her? Throw him in the box, then throw him into the river. The river will throw him onto the shore, where he'll be picked up by an enemy of mine and an enemy of his. Like that is so
Hmm.
specific,
Yes, very
right?
specific.
And she's not a messenger. Neither is Mary, you know.
Uh-huh.
So they were given information. So I mean, just the
Because of
fact,
revelation, yeah,
because
because
they're,
God
yeah, because
revealed.
the thing
Yeah,
is, when
just
you take a verse in a vacuum and you disregard the rest of the verses of the Quran, that's how you come to absurd understandings, you know? Like the message of the covenant, I think he also gave a very good example about this, when he said that, I can use a verse from the Quran and take it out of context and say the Quran says that the end of the world will never happen, because
Uh-huh.
I'm taking a verse out of context in a vacuum without interpreting it along with other verses from the rest of the Quran,
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's what happens to these people. Unfortunately, all these people who are jealous or stupid, whatever the problem is, um, like they're using these verses like only to a messenger that he chooses to take it to say that God cannot give any information about anything that's going to happen to a future unless it's given to a messenger, which is we know it's false because we know it's false because Moses' mother is not a messenger, right? So
Yes.
they need to have an explanation for that. Well, how
uh,
was
it's
Moses' mother a messenger? No, she wasn't.
uh,
So you're basically not making sense.
extricating. Yeah, they're extricating a certain meaning, like in like in Surah 3. You know how it says twist, use it to confuse the people and to twist, and to try to extricate their meaning to whatever whatever bias or point they're trying to prove. But like the fact is the smoke is gonna happen. Uh, Without a doubt. And if we just so happened to be informed about it, like even if for some reason uh we weren't informed, apophis is still coming. It's still gonna happen, right?
Hmm.
So it's just like it's not a big deal. It's like having information about something that's already gonna happen. Like it's gonna happen anyway. People are gonna find out one way or another. And would you rather be one to find out and believe in it beforehand so you can make preparations, or be one of the people that ends up getting surprised, and it comes, the retribution comes to them suddenly, like the Quran
Mhm.
talks about. It comes to disbelievers suddenly.
Yes. And there's also one thing, right? Like if God was talking to the father of Moses, maybe they would have said, yeah, but because he's a man, this shows that this his father was also a messenger. They're gonna say that, but it's his mother. And
Mm,
we know that God didn't send woman messengers or prophets.
mm. Yeah. Also, Mary is another example, right? God says she was a saint. She was not a messenger.
Mhm. And she also received revelations from
Mm,
God. Yeah, so because that happened before, and we read this in the Quran, it can also happen today, right? And if I understand correctly, revelations from God doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to hear some kind of a voice in your head, right? Like, us looking at the evidence, looking at the multiples of 19s, and then looking at all the relations with Apophis and chapter 44 and chapter 22, right?
yeah.
Like,
But we're
yeah,
not saying that it was revealed to us either, you know?
yes,
Nobody is claiming that it was revealed to us. We just saw the, I just saw the,
signs.
I just saw the reel on YouTube, and then I looked it up. I started looking up, and I saw this stuff. So it wasn't like a voice came to me or anything like that. And for to none of us, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't like that. It was just a discovery, you
Peace.
know.
Mm.
But on that front, like we have to be very honest and transparent about this, right? If if someone says that a believer will not have any connection with God, even if they're the most righteous person and even if they're doing everything right, like God gives them good news, God gives them signs, you know
Yeah, and they
god
recognize the
inspires
size.
god inspires them about things, as he inspired the people in the Quran. Like, he gave people good news about a child, for example, that had nothing to do with them being like had nothing to do with the message, right? It wasn't like religious commandments being given to them. These were just good news that God gave to Abraham, for example, for having disowned his father, that he was going to have righteous children, for example, right? Nothing to do with the message. And those types of that type of promise is not just limited to the messengers. If you as a submitter can lead a righteous life and be devoted to God like these people, God can also be in your life, and God can give you certain things that are relevant to your life, through signs. Like, for example, the messenger also even talks about, for example, if you think that, and I think that's a good point here, because he talks about, for example, if you believe in superstitions, he said, and if you think that, by seeing a butterfly, you're going to have a beautiful day, God can show you a butterfly, you know, and that's going to tell you that you're going to have a beautiful day, right? So, I mean, this is, in a way, also something that you would see in the near future, right? And you don't have to be a messenger to see these signs, right? So, but the thing is, what I find most problematic here is that they're limiting this type of relationship only to a messenger, which we don't see in the Quran, right? Like the verse we read earlier about how God communicates with us fits perfectly into this. It's not referring to only a messenger. A messenger is one of the three ways in which God would communicate with us, and that's why we can see Moses' mother was one of them, because she was righteous. Why we see Mary was one of them, because Mary was a saint, right?
Yes.
Also, for example, we see the dreams, right? And we talk about the interpretation of dreams. And God can communicate. I mean, Satan can also show you the dreams, but God can also communicate with us through the dreams, as we see with Joseph's dream, that he was shown this dream about an event that was going to happen in the future. And I mean, that had nothing to do with him being a messenger, and nothing to do with the message. It was just something about his future, that God gave him a good news. And when he was being thrown in the well, God inspired him that someday you're gonna tell them about this, right? That had nothing to do with the message either, and but God inspired him. So this idea that people are trying to give just for this purpose of a prophet, I think, is really distorting the things that we see from the Quran and all these accounts. It directly goes against many of the verses in the Quran, and just because they're taking one verse out of context and trying to overemphasize it by concealing the other verses that talk about this type of inspiration as well, right?
Right. So
Yeah,
it's
and while
a
they know it
selective
as well,
emphasis.
Mm-hmm.
they know also these verses. When you point out them, the other verses where God says, like the verse we just have read, about that God, reveals, communicates by revealing, and also by messenger and with the other parts. They also know this. But yeah, if you don't recognize, if you don't accept certain verses from the Quran, then that shows the true intense, like, in you, right? Because they
Mm-hmm.
say that they were submitters. They say we are submitters. We believe in the Quran. We believe in the messenger in the 19, etc. And when you show a verse in the Quran proving that you don't have to be a messenger to receive certain information about the future, they still don't accept it. So
Yeah, and I think it's pretty significant because and it just I just started reading the Myth of God Incarnate. One of the books that the messenger recommended about how the Christianity is basically has taken on way different forms. And just in the preface in the first 15 pages, it just reminded me like there what Christianity has become today is exactly the same type of things. I mean, we're seeing same type of mindsets and actions that these so-called submitters are doing. They're basically taking verses and to try to extricate a certain meaning, just to conform to some type of belief system, and they're trying to mold submission into something it's not. Even if it's they're trying to invent. Uh, I guess if that made uh, if that made any sense, but
Mm-hmm.
um, but
Yeah,
um,
yeah,
but
mashallah,
like
right.
The Christians have done like basically what I was I guess trying to say is the
Mm-hmm.
Christians
Yeah.
have done this in order to keep I guess like I'm still reading the book, but it's just like you see these patterns when falsehood and corruption comes in. I mean, it's no different, like the same type of I guess somewhat overlap that you see. Uh, but but
Please.
I had a, oh yes, brother.
I have a question. Didn't Dr. Rashad say that anyone who preaches the worship of God alone is a messenger of God?
Yeah, mashallah. So that is also another point where he talks about you can be a messenger in that sense because you're when you go to your community, your workplace, your school, etc., or your family, you're giving them the message. So in that sense, you're also acting as a messenger, right? But that's not like the a commissioned messenger like Dr. Rashad Khalifa, who was inspired to deliver the message directly from God. Like we already have the message now given to the messengers and already been revealed to the mankind, and we're just forwarding it now. So we're also messengers, but obviously it's important to draw the distinction between the two.
Yeah, the one has like a job to do. Like God tells them to do certain things, in the Messenger of the Covenant, for example, he gives a summary of what he was supposed to do. Is, for example, one of the things to reveal the end of the world, when it's going to happen. To tell us that anyone who dies before the age of 40 is gonna make it to heaven. um the miracle of 19. He had these certain things, the things that he needed to do. He was commissioned to do those things in that manner. Like, that's the messenger. And then, of course, we read in 381, right? Like, where it says, after giving the books and the guidance to the prophets, there will come a messenger who will, if we read three, that was the part for Dr. Rashad. It was his job to do it, as a messenger.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I had
also I think as Brother Suleiman, I was just gonna say this. Oh, you can go ahead, Brother Jaffer, if you need.
yeah, I had question about one here in 41. God says, "I have made you just for me." Um, right. The message also talks about this, about Moses. What should we what what should we understand from this verse? Where God says, "I have made you just for me." What does that mean actually?
Yeah, mashallah. I think that that doesn't apply exclusively just to Moses. Um, it applies to all the creatures that God has created. We are created to worship God alone. So I think that's what it means.
It's not specifically talking about Moses.
Oh no.
Oh, okay. Because if I'm not mistaken, the message of the covenant, when he speaks about Moses, he says this about him, right? And he also says, there are also verses where God says, "I have made you." Um, let me
I
find
have
it.
made you before my watchful
Yes, before.
eyes.
Yes, yes, yes. That one, for example.
But yeah, but I mean, yeah, it could also apply to everybody else because I
Ah,
mean,
okay.
we're all, you know,
I thought
because
it
I
was
mean,
for Moses.
yeah, I mean, that's how I understood it, because I think, like with the other verses, but you can also think of it, like,
Because he says, "Your sister walked to them," and then he says, "I have made you just for me. Go with your brother, go to Pharaoh. These are commandments of God to Moses, right? Tell him to do certain things." So he's telling Moses, "I have made you just for me," but uh, yeah, this can also mean with you, this can also mean like the rest of the world.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's just a way of endearment. Like God
um,
is using. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
yeah, the verses about God's inspiration. Which one was that? The communication.
What do you mean? That he
Uh,
was 40.
42:51.
Yeah.
42:51.
oh, 42:51. Oh, I see.
Yes.
When you searched it up, brother, like, one of the things that struck me was God says, "Speak to them nicely." Right? We have here like a tyrant who is using the children of Israel as slaves. He says that he's a god, and still God tells Moses to, when he said, "Go to Pharaoh for he transgressed, speak to him nicely. He may take heed or become reverent." But God knows already that he's not going to accept the message, right? He knows it. But what I understand from this is he's like telling us that there's a certain way, right? Like he doesn't immediately punish someone. He gives them the opportunity to repent while knowing actually that they are not going to repent. But this is God's system. So, right? And this is
Yeah,
an example
obviously.
for us.
Yeah, also, I believe that God doesn't want him to have an excuse, like, to say, like, he didn't speak to me nicely, so I didn't let the children of Israel go, for example. Like,
Uh-huh.
also, Pharaoh has a big ego, you know,
Yeah, like you're
and
gonna
if
use
he,
that like you could be a crybaby and say that.
yeah, and also, imagine you're talking to Pharaoh, someone with a big ego, and if you go and demand in front of him, like, obviously, um,
Mhm.
that's not gonna
You're going
work
to you're
either,
going
right?
to hurt his feelings, Slim.
Yeah,
Right.
He's gonna cry.
right. But I
Who are
mean,
you?
that's how.
I'm Pharaoh. How dare you?
Yeah. So I mean, that's how. But I mean, that's how we're supposed to give the message, right? I mean, initially he has to go and give him the message, right? I mean, that's how every submitter is like. I mean, nobody goes to another person and say, "Hey, you better become a submitter, or else," like.
Sorry. Uh, but I said this once. I said, if you're not going to accept submission,
Hmm.
eventually you will end up in hell because this is the only acceptable religion by God. You come to a certain point where you eventually, of course, you need to speak nicely, but you eventually also tell them the truth and tell them what will happen. Because there is a verse, right, where God tells us to say this, that we need to warn them and let them know what's going to happen if they are not going to submit.
Right, but when I say or else, like, I mean, I'm talking about him as a person. Like, I'm gonna punch you in the face or something,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
it makes sense.
yeah, but I
But
mean,
he may take
it,
heed or become
hmm,
reverent while God
yeah,
knew he's not gonna do
hmm,
that. But
hmm,
it's for okay. This is like teaching, right? Like God is teaching how to give the
hmm,
message.
right, and that's what the
Mhm,
messenger also explained when he says, like, you give them the benefit of the doubt, you treat them in the, like when God said in the Quran, you debate with them in the best possible manner, right? I mean, those
mhm,
are all times when you have hope for them. When God says he may take heed, at that time, there's hope for Pharaoh, at least in front of, as far as Moses is concerned. He didn't know
mhm,
the whole story, how it's going to end up at the end.
mhm,
So his job was to go give him the message, be nice, That's how, when we go to give the message to anybody, even someone who's hopeless, we don't know until we go and talk to them nicely and debate with them nicely. And then we figure out that, okay, there's no hope for this person, or there is hope
mhm,
for this person, right? But until then, I mean, we have to speak
mhm.
to them the right way.
But in 48, they also start, first they say these things, and then we read, we have been inspired that the retribution will inevitably afflict those who disbelieve and turn away. They also say this, like eventually, right? To warn them, like
Hmm.
you first tell them the message, give them the guidance, and then you
Hmm.
also warn them what will happen if they will,
Hmm.
will not.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Giving them the warning, I guess it's not the same thing as like issuing a direct threat, personal
mhm,
threat to someone, So, like,
mhm,
you have
mhm.
to be nice to him. He'll be like,
It's
"Oh,
actually
I'll
still a
punch you
nice
like I
thing.
punched the other guy and killed him."
Oh,
You remember how bad I punched the other guy and he died?
I can do the same to you. It's still a mercy, from God. His mercy, like you can see, still His mercy that sending messengers, sending the message, showing miracles, all those things. So there is definitely no excuse for anyone at all. Mm-mm. Yes. But then they go into a debate, right? Like he's asking, he said, "Who is your Lord, O Moses?" He said, "Our Lord is the one who granted everything its existence and its guidance." He said, "What about the past generations?" Hmm. Like, okay, he's like asking, they didn't heard about this current message, And probably he also at that moment didn't know that God sent that Moses is not the first messenger, right? There came messengers and prophets before Moses for the previous generations, or the past, past generations. Mhm. And then he tells him about, that God, um, he knows everything. He doesn't forget. He makes the world habitable. He brings from the sky water to produce different kinds of plants. He made these roads. So these are sufficient proofs for those who possess knowledge. So he makes them think, right? He tells them, listen, look around. Like you have the water coming from the sky. You can eat and drink. There are roads. You're living in this world. So if you would think, if you possess your if you use your intelligence, think a little bit about it, then you would definitely easily see that this is all from the Lord of the heavens, that he is the one who created all these things. And this should be sufficient proof, he says. These are sufficient proofs for those who possess intelligence, even without seeing a miracle, right? But everything around us is actually a type of a miracle, right? How the world works. This can't be coincidence. It can't be, work or by its own, right? The earth cannot create itself, or the sun could have not created itself. So there must be a creator, even without seeing these certain miracles, to be able to understand that there is a creator.
Yeah, mashallah. Um, I would also like to comment on verse 54. We it is Ramadan, and we come to appreciate all these provisions more. Hopefully, um, I gave a sermon also this Friday on animals and mentioned livestock. I mean, if you think about the livestock, and God says here, eat and raise your livestock. These are sufficient proofs for those who possess intelligence, right? And if we reflect on the livestock, I mean, how many benefits God provides for us with just the livestock alone, and how God has designed them, how God has designed like their digestive systems, for example, to be so advanced, and how God has, made them subdued for us. Like they don't, they don't, they're not like rebellious kind of creatures, who are hard to control. You can subdue them very easily, and all the garments that we make, that we use their furs for the cotton and the wool. Nowadays, like we have so many types of fabrics and so many synthetic fabrics that are made of plastic and stuff, and we know that they're so harmful for the bodies. Like you know almost any person that they have tested, they've found like microplastics in their system. So these garments that are made of synthetic material, also have those shed those plastics basically. But these wools and furs that God has created for us, from the cotton that comes from the livestock, you know, is doesn't have any plastic, obviously, right? Because it's all organic. I mean, wool, cotton, and so I mean, these are such great blessings from God to keep us warm, and then God talks about how they give us luxury, and we use it for luxury, for leisure when we travel, etc. So I think that these are things sometimes we forget to appreciate, and we may think about their the food part of it, I guess, maybe in Ramadan sometimes, but also like the other, dairy is another huge part, right? I mean, we forget like everything, how dependent we are on dairy for our food supply, and how God provides us that, from, like, as God says in the Quran, from the midst of digested food and blood, which is also, scientifically very accurate on how milk is produced, by the way. And, God makes these animals in such a way that, all they do in their whole life is just eat grass, which we can't eat or digest. And then God gives us, through that, God gives us the meat and the dairy, the milk that, is perfect for our digestion and, full of nutrients, mashallah.
Yeah, mashallah. And we live in a time where we have like this immense diversity, like with so many different things. We live in places of the world, but we
Mm-hmm.
eat from also like things
Mm-hmm.
that come from Africa or from
Mm-hmm.
Asia. Like you can find everything
Mm-hmm.
now. You can eat
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah,
Like
especially
many
the
many.
dairy
Yeah.
and the meat in Netherlands must be very good.
It's very good, brother.
It's always so green, huh?
But in Sivas is better, brother.
Huh?
In Turkey, Sivas,
Uh-huh.
there's yeah, it's
It's
better.
better. Oh, so yeah, Turkey
Yeah,
too.
yeah, mashallah.
So
Brother, in 56, God says, we showed him all our proofs, but he disbelieved and refused. So, does this mean that, Moses is there talking to Pharaoh, giving him the guidance, he's like giving the information to him. But does this mean he's also like showing certain miracles, or like he says, we showed him all our proofs?
hmm
What should we understand from all our
yeah, so all
proofs?
the miracles that were given to him, he showed them, right? Like including the hand that turns white without a blemish and all those other miracles that God gave to him, right? It talks about it in other verses. So if we look at uh, the verse I'm referring to would be um, in Surah 20, right? I believe it's in Surah 20 or 27, one of them. Um, Let me go to 27. I believe it might be 27. So it says, throw down your staff. When he saw it moving like a demon, he turned around and fled. O Moses, do not be afraid. My messenger shall not fear except those who commit a transgression and substitute righteousness. After sinning, I am forgiving, most merciful. Put your hand in your pocket, it will come out wide without a blemish. These are among 9 miracles to Pharaoh and his peoples, for they are wicked people. When our miracles were presented to them, clear and profound, they said, this is obviously magic. They rejected them and were utterly convinced of their ways. So these were among the 9 miracles that God says that, were given to them, and they refused to accept them, right? So um, it doesn't
He says
mention,
it's all magic.
yeah. hmm
Eventually, okay. So
hmm
because here in these verses, God also speaks about it, but he references, like he says, we showed him all our proofs, referencing also to the verses you have read, brother. Yeah,
Yeah.
mashallah. Okay, that makes sense, of course. Yeah, like he's there showing the proofs. Then after that, he says. With your magic, like then he says, okay, this all these things that you're showing me, this is magic. I can also bring certain people of my own who are magicians, so let's come to a neutral place, thinking that he's going to humiliate Moses. But when the experts come, they see that what is Moses showing is definitely not magic, it's the truth from the Lord, and then they accept it. And one of the things is your appointed time shall be the day of festivity. So this is like an open place, right? For the people who can come. And then they meet there. And actually, by the magicians accepting Moses, that accepting that what Moses is doing is not magic, it's actually Pharaoh being humiliated in front of his people, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
And
has to deal
he made
also.
it easy for, God made it easy for Moses to present the message to all these people, in this
Mhm.
way that, they all got to see the miracle firsthand, by being gathered in that place together at the same
Mhm.
time.
But they also witnessed that the magicians accepted it, and they said that this is not magic. They said, no, this is from God. Like we submit to him now. We bow down. They fell prostrate, right? So and the people could see this.
Hmm. Yeah, but because Pharaoh said, "This must be your master, your chief, who taught you magic," he must be your instructor,
Then
which
that's
is
what
so
he says. Yeah.
ridiculous. That yeah.
They find these excuses not to accept it. There's always something you can say about it. The magicians fell prostrate, saying, we believe in the Lord of Aaron and Moses. He said, did you believe in him without my permission? He must be your chief, the one who taught you magic. I will surely sever your hands and feet on alternate sides. But these people, the magicians, they say, it doesn't matter. We have believed in our Lord that he may forgive us our sins and the magic that you forced us to perform. Okay, so they say that you are the one who forced us to perform this magic, not Moses. And it doesn't matter what you're going to do. We still choose the side of God. And the people are witness of this, right? Those people, they see this. Like the people who are in at the time there, maybe the people of the army, they're all witnessing all these things. They see magicians accepting that what Moses has brought forward is not magic. Yeah, so they also don't have any excuses anymore. It's not only Pharaoh, also the people who followed him, right? Because in the end, it says, Pharaoh pursued them, but the sea overwhelmed them as it was destined to overwhelm them. Thus, Pharaoh misled his people. He did not guide them. You know, when I read this verse, I was also thinking about the Pope. You know, the Pope is also leading his people, right? He's misleading them
Right.
actually.
Hmm.
And the message of the covenant, he made this video where he sends the message to the leaders of the world, right? Also the Pope.
Was that the same pope that's in the Epstein files? No, it was another pope.
No, it was another one. It was another one. But it's the same
They're
idea, right?
probably all
So
on Epstein
They're probably all
files.
in the Epstein files.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Uh, yeah, I mean, I knew or I learned from like growing up in the Christianity, like how much crazy stuff that would turn people's head that happens in the Vatican. So, but it's definitely, something like that is not godly. It's makes sense,
Hmm.
that it's a house of Satan.
Hmm.
mhm,
They're just
Yeah.
promoting idol worship and all types of horrible things happen to people.
mhm. Is there a reason why they didn't destroy all those documents? It's maybe out
Uh,
of topic, but
yeah, out of topic.
maybe we can go to out of topic. I don't know.
We need to have a separate session for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like in the way there's always like a reason, but for some, we know whatever their schemes were, whatever factions that are trying to take power, like God is the one who preserves everything, and so
Mm.
even if
Yeah,
they
God is the
like
one who
think they're,
exposes.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Like even if like whatever happens, like God is still running it and exposing them. Um,
Yeah, like they could decide to like burn the whole building, maybe, right? Or I'm not sure. I don't know.
well, they did that with 9/11 and Building 7. That the whole
Hmm.
Building 7, where a lot of the planning was used. That's why buildings and also a lot of evidence. But,
Yeah, guys, let's stay on topic.
Yes,
okay.
yes. No, it's the same, like Pharaoh of today.
Yeah.
Mm,
Pharaoh's magicians.
mm.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, I also think, like if we look at the situation, I think I read a verse the other morning about how it was told to Moses that turn your house. I think this is after he went to Pharaoh and when he was residing like within the city with those. It said those who believed that turn your houses into synagogues and mosques and remain steadfast. And this is after or while Pharaoh announced there was a small group opposing them. So I mean, if you look at the situation, I'm sure maybe some of the people amongst Moses that believed, a lot of them, it said like without fearing the tyranny of Pharaoh, were probably thinking like, well, how are we going to be rescued? Like the situation seems so daunting. Like,
Mm.
'cause, there's Pharaoh, and I mean, you're outnumbered
Mm-hmm.
and then he has his troops, and then he has his whatever magicians that didn't convert. I mean, he has all these seemingly and yeah, I mean, he's like the Quran says, he possessed power and might. So I mean, it wasn't just like some walk in the park, but and like you're like, well, how are we going to overwhelm them? Like, what's going to happen? Like,
We
but
should.
if you look at this miraculous miracle of the sea being split for Moses's passage as well as the believers, and then it overwhelmed Pharaoh. I mean, nobody could have even like imagined how awesome and
Yeah, and they received the
like
information
perfect that happened.
beforehand, right?
Yeah. So I
They
mean,
said,
it
"You
still
cannot
it still
fear."
can happen. Yeah. It's I was just gonna say it still
Hmm.
can happen and will happen with our generation. I mean, with whatever disasters that the people today's pharaohs and troops uh we're gonna see similar things. Like for if we have to understand and believe that too. You know? Because sometimes the situation and the things at hand, especially like what's going on, it can seem daunting, but we're given, I think, really profound lessons here that uh, all through the Quran, verses about that eventually the wicked will be annihilated, the transgressors will never succeed. So even if they seem like they have temporary ruling or upper hand, they're going to end up uh, doomed. We just have to persevere and remain steadfast.
Yeah. Also, we see here what they say. So you can only rule in this lowly life, right? So even if there are people are ruling in this lowly life, I mean, this is just a temporary illusion. It's something that's
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
go on for a few. It's just it's like a
It's just
just a show. Just an illusion, and doesn't mean
yeah, I was
anything. I mean, they can get billions and billions and steal from people and everything, but and oppress people and kill people and rape people. I mean, this list goes on, right? But and that's what people of Pharaoh were doing too to these people. They're victimizing them, oppressing them, discriminating against them, and persecuting them eventually. And then they met their fate, right? And obviously, this was the way that God had chosen to annihilate these people when their time was up, right? And so obviously with the smoke coming too, I mean, we see that we will see how that plays out, with how some of these people that are uh, in all of this corruption, there's a big part of the corruption, comes from the Middle East, also. So that will clearly be eliminated, and all these other people, obviously God has
infection.
their fate, huh?
Yeah, the source of the infection
Yeah,
in a way.
and yeah, and God has their they're taking more and more interest in the Middle East. So I
Black
wouldn't be
walnut.
surprised. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, anybody else have any more comments about the verses we read? If there are comments, we can talk about them. Otherwise, if there are any off-topic questions, we can address those at this point.
Yeah, brother Abdullah. I don't know what happened. He left. Maybe his link, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, Yeah, I'll ask him about it. But like
Mm-hmm.
off topic, I wanted to talk
Mm-hmm.
more about Apophis, the
Mm-hmm.
evidence that we also have in the, like, I shared the link, I shared the PDF, we talked about it, I showed some certain numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he had also the similar questions about, like, saying certain things about the future that we say it's really gonna happen, not like, oh, maybe it's gonna happen. Like, there's a difference when you say maybe, we are not really sure, there are a few
Mm-hmm.
signs, we think it's gonna happen. That's different than when you say no, we have like more than so much signs, multiples of
So if you have
19.
less signs, it's okay, but if you have more signs, it's not okay.
Yeah. Uh,
I just have two signs. That's okay.
yeah, one of the one of the things that I said basically was, when you look at the message of the covenant talking about the end of the world being 2280, right? If we look at the amount of multiples of 19s that he is talking about, it's
Mm-hmm.
much less than, like, with
Mm-hmm.
a few, actually, with a few signs, he is telling us that
Mm-hmm.
this is the end of that the date is of the end of the world. And
Right.
here we have much more multiples of 19s,
Mm-hmm.
direct
Yeah.
relations and connections with Apophis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, I tried to say is, if the messenger of the covenant was still alive, right, how would he use these numbers? Like, what would he say about these numbers? Would he say, yeah, like,
Mm-hmm.
we have more than 200 multiples of 19s, but who knows, maybe it's going to happen. Would he say
Mm-hmm.
that? Or, like, would he say, no, listen, these are all the signs. So many signs are there
Yeah, I
to
mean, the
tell us
thing
that it's the
is
date.
also the difference between this and the messenger of the covenant is, after all, he was the messenger of God, right? So, I mean, in his case, like, for example, as far as the end of the world, as everything else is concerned, like, he also had direct inspiration. He was in communication with the angel Gabriel and stuff, right? So he could say
Mhm.
for a fact, like, okay, I know for a fact I've been told by so and
Yeah,
so that
without
this is
the other
gonna take
signs.
place without that, right? But we don't. We just have the mathematical, proofs, right? Which,
Mhm.
if even if we have the, I mean, it's mathematics, right? So when mathematics, the thing with mathematics is, if it proves something, then I mean it's the ultimate proof, right? In
Mhm.
science. So I mean
Yeah, yeah.
that's the only proof we have, right?
Mhm.
But we don't have any direct communication in that sense, where
Mhm.
we heard, so we can't say the same way as the messenger in that sense, right?
Yes.
But from the signs, like, it seems pretty obvious that this might be that's how I say it, that it seems pretty obvious, until it happens, you know.
Mhm.
That's how I say it, because I feel like that's how I feel, I feel that way when I first found out about it, and I still feel that way, because
Mhm.
we see, that's all we have all the signs, the mathematical signs that are pointing in that direction, basically, right? All of them are pointing in that direction, so
Yeah,
everybody can take it the way they want,
yeah. So you
you
have
know.
these videos where the messenger of the covenant, he's extremely excited when there is a new multiple of 19 is discovered. You can see that in the
Hmm.
videos. He's very, and he says it also. He says this. So then he talks, for example, about the digits, right? The numbers in the Quran. When you take chapter
Hmm.
1, surah 1, verse one,
Hmm.
2, 3, 4, the whole digit, like, very long number being multiples of
Hmm.
19. And then he keeps on going it, and then in other videos you can also see that, he says, um if I can phrase it right, like, it makes the miracle stronger. Like, with more and more, it becomes stronger, and it eliminates more excuses. Like, for example, he says, they say, yeah, in Arabic you read from right to left. So if you turn all these numbers from right to left, it's also a multiple of 19, right? Because they have
Mhm.
all these excuses.
Mhm.
So when we look at Apophis, brother, and we
Mhm.
see there is like five multiples of 19, and then we start investigating more and we start seeing more multiples of 19s, every
Mhm.
time when we see another one, this makes the claim stronger, right? Like
Right.
and
Right.
it's also, it eliminates certain excuses. For example,
Mhm.
one of the things was that, okay, you have all these multiples of 19s, but this, if I'm not mistaken, in 2036, if they say, if Apophis is not going to hit in 2029, it's going to pass by, and in 2036, it's also 13 April 2036. Yes. But then when you look at the official documents, it says it's going to be around 15 million kilometers away. Like in 2029 is 38,000 kilometers, but in 2036 it's around 15 million. Like it's much farther away.
Mhm.
You
Much
understand?
much farther. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. So and then like, isn't that then the date? And I immediately checked this, and I sent screenshots of this
Mhm.
information where they said,
Mhm.
like 2029 is definitely, when you look at, because the Apophis comes, it also came in 2021, right? Then it was 58 million kilometers, the distance between the Apophis and Earth. So 58 million in 2029, 38,000, and in 2036 they say it's like 15 million. So he comes, actually, this is the one moment where he comes the closest to the world. So assuming that it's not going to be in 2029, but in 2036, is also actually eliminated easily. So,
Mhm.
and when you look at all these multiples of 19, this information about the things that the Messenger of the Covenant has said, like we can, I think, definitely say it's going to hit in 2029.
Mhm.
And why else? And one of the other things that I hear a lot is they say, okay, but what are you going to do if it's not going to hit? And my answer actually is, if it wouldn't hit, then we wouldn't have all these signs, right? We wouldn't have
Mhm.
all this information. Why would God send us all this information and all these signs about Apophis and the smoke, and what
Mhm.
the messenger said, and
Yeah.
still not,
But what does
it's
it
not
mean?
going to
Like, what are you
happen?
gonna do if it does? It's not gonna hit. Like,
I'm going to give you
what?
$10.
What? What? Yeah. No, like if it doesn't hit, like, what do you want us to do?
Yeah, no, it's actually about, like, this is a sentence that you use when
Mhm.
you talk to someone and you're not believing
Mhm.
in that person. You say, yeah,
Mhm.
like you have all these evidences, the proof and all these things, but
Mhm.
what if it's not gonna happen? Are you gonna, are you not going to be humiliated
Yeah,
in
I
front of
just
all these people?
right. I think
Mhm.
it comes down. I think at this point, like it's as simple as whether these people are believers or disbelievers in the smoke prophecy. Because if you really believe that the
Mhm.
smoke prophecy is gonna happen and the messenger brought the truth, you would look at this and then you would not take an opposing stance. Like
Yeah, you say like
you
this
would
confirms the
yeah,
prophecy of the
exactly.
Yes,
messenger
It
of the
would it would
covenant.
yes,
increase it should increase your faith in faith. But
yes,
if you
yes,
had
brother.
doubts and you didn't really believe in the first place about the smoke prophecy or the messenger, you're gonna
Mhm.
disbelieve in this naturally, rightfully so. Like it would make perfect sense.
Yes,
And if you did believe in the smoke prophecy, you would be like, "Oh man, this is like literally fits the ticket. It's the writing on
Yeah.
the wall."
Yeah,
yes,
and also not only just the smoke prophecy, but the mathematical miracle too. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like how
that
that
too.
person just flipped
Exactly.
and changed his belief on the mathematical miracle and wanted to go by the proofs
sorry.
of a
Right.
disbeliever
Mhm.
who was making fun of the Al Fatiha and said, "Oh wow, praise God that He guided me to this disbeliever."
Oh yeah, man. And in
How
Turkey,
stupid!
then, brother, one of the things that the miracle does, it elevates your belief, right? You already believe in the Quran. Like the ones who already believe that the Quran is the word of
Hmm.
God, when you see the miracle, your faith grows by it, right? Like that is the function of the miracle of 19. One of its functions is to elevate the belief of a believer, right?
Mhm.
So
Increase the faith of the
here,
faithful. Yeah.
sorry, yes, increase the faith of the believer. So when, of course, in the beginning it's very normal that you would have doubts that it's going to happen in 2029. But every time when we look, and this, I must say, this happened especially when Brother John pointed out the part that had to do with the end of the world. Remember, brother, you the verses in the website. This is in color, yellow, if I'm not mistaken, green and yellow. So like every time when I saw like more evidences and more relations, this needs to increase our belief that it's going to happen in 2029 because
Right.
of
Yeah.
because of the miracle, not because we think it's going to happen. No, because of the
Hmm.
miracle.
Hmm.
Because why else? Well, how can you believe in the miracle of 19 in the Quran, and you are so convinced because it's like impossible for someone else to do? It can't be coincidence. There are so many levels of, it has a lot of depthness, right? Like you have the count of the numbers, the letters, the geometrical values, the meaning of the letters, the words. Like so many things are going on, right? And the more you read about it, the more you learn about the miracle, the more you have faith in it, right? You can now, you are now witnessing. Oh, that's also one of the things, right? We are now witnessing something. It's a factual thing. We can see it with our own eyes. It's mathematics. So
Hmm.
on the other side, the same thing we see here with Apophis. So why shouldn't we, why shouldn't we accept this in the same way of us accepting, because it's the same thing, it's the same miracle,
Hmm.
right?
Exactly. Yeah, I think it really just boils down to what we mentioned earlier about people not believing and people having doubts about it in the first place, about the message, about the apophis. I mean, about the smoke, and about the messenger too. I mean, they can't believe in the messenger and then have doubts about the smoke in the first place, right? So they have doubts about the messenger, they have doubts about the smoke, and that's why they have doubts or disbelieving completely
About Apophis.
about the prophets. I mean,
Hmm, hmm.
it would be one thing if it doesn't happen in 2029, then they can come and say, "Oh, you said 2029 and it didn't happen," and then say whatever they want to say. But it hasn't
Hmm.
even. It's not even 2029
Well, even
yet.
then, it could still come around the 6 years later and then smoke 'em, or 7 years, whatever. Even if they like a pop,
Hmm.
what they're saying, like it's gonna circle back, but we already know, like, or
Hmm. If it
everything
hits, it's
tells
not
us
gonna
it's
start.
not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
everything
if
tells
it's
us it's 2029,
yeah, I
but
mean, if it
do
hits
it.
in 2029, it's not gonna circle back.
No, I know, but like I was
You
using
mean
that
its
Yeah, I
age?
know, I
as a
know.
basis against their argument. Like, even if
Yeah.
it doesn't, you're like, well, hold your lips, because it might come back and then surprise.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think really it's
Yes.
also that, and it's also jealousy because, like, they're wondering, like, oh, how did these people find out about this, and we didn't.
Mm.
Kind of like the same thing people have with the message in general, with the messengers, also with the scriptures. They want everything to be about them, basically. And it's really when the ego is there, like, I mean, I've seen people have ego in smaller things, and I think this is one of the bigger things. Like, I've seen, when I say that, like, I've seen in ego in smaller things, like, I've seen, for example, like, if you see something from the Quran, and something that's obvious, blatantly obvious, that it's wrong, and you tell the people that, hey, what you're saying about this about God is wrong. They will not believe it just because of jealousy, you know and then when it suits them later on, for their own purposes, for their own convenience, they will accept it. So, and I think this thing with the smoke, for some people, it's a bigger deal than that, even. So it's totally normal and acceptable I mean, to see these people react the way they react to this,
Yeah,
that
because
they're not going to believe,
just like yeah, they're just like in Surah 34. You know how Solomon told Sheba, "Is like you're the type of like you're the ones to rejoice in such." It's the same thing, with these people. Like they treat something like this as they prop it up as such as
hmm
something so big, and that's
hmm
probably because if they would have uh been inspired or come across it first, they would have ran with it and made it into this big
Yeah,
thing, and
yeah.
that's exactly probably why.
Yeah.
Also, because they want. That's what I.
I,
That's that's exactly why. They
yeah,
want
I'm
to.
trying. I
But
got I got funny. I imagine this in my head about a certain person. Like is he, if he found out about it, like what would he do?
Hey, can I ask
I
a
think I know
question?
the person.
Yes, brother. Go ahead.
Can we talk about Moses' story more in detail and the miracles which came to him?
Sure.
Like,
Is it
every time a miracle came to uh, Pharaoh's people, did Moses go back to Pharaoh and talk about it or dispute it?
so?
I didn't understand the question.
So it's not like miracles were given to him in stages, right? All the miracles were given to him at once. Um, like um, or maybe, I mean, that's how I understand it. Like it's not like he was given one miracle and then a couple of weeks later he got, oh, I got another miracle. Now I have to go back to Pharaoh and then show him the new one.
yeah, because didn't he already like he pulled out his hand and it was white, and his staff became a serpent, and then that's
hmm
what it was already there, and that's what he
hmm
showed Moses. I mean, that's what he showed Pharaoh, and then it came. Then eventually the big showdown that Pharaoh called for, which was to his own demise. It was pretty much the same thing, right? Because he threw down his staff and it for lack of a better word, it gobbled up the other magicians, snakes or something, right? I can't think too good right now.
Serpents?
Yeah, serpents. Yeah.
You're hungry, brother?
No, no, no. Just a little tired.
hmm
No, I'm okay.
Ramadan is hitting you hard?
What was that?
Ramadan is hitting you hard, he said.
Ramadan is a thing.
No, 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 no. I'm actually not even hungry.
It's easy actually. These
It's
in
just my
these
sleep
Yeah,
times.
schedule. With
yeah.
yeah,
It's
it's just my
bedtime for
sleep.
him, that's why.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's actually, I was Suleiman asked me the other day how it was going, and then I said it's good, alhamdulillah. And then I was thinking like, well, it's been very easy because of my sleep schedule because of
hmm
Praise
work.
God.
Yeah.
hmm
But I
Inshallah.
remember I think the first or second year, I was working days, and it was out in the sun, um, out here in Texas, and it was very fulfilling. I'll just say that. Um, mashallah. But yeah, it's been very easy. Thank God.
Praise God. Uh, so, any more information regarding the story of Moses?
The miracles you said, or
Yeah, yeah,
Moses?
yeah, in general. In
In
general.
general about Moses, or about in general about the miracles?
Uh, about Pharaoh versus Moses and God in between.
Sorry, I didn't get the question. What was the question?
Is there any more details regarding Moses and Pharaoh?
I mean, there's also, this is also, I mean, in a few chapters, right? So we are reading Surah 20, and then we read some more in Surah 27. And
In Baqarah and chapter
yeah,
2,
yeah,
everywhere throughout
yeah.
the whole
But
Quran,
but
God
there's
talks
like
about.
two, three chapters where this is discussed in detail. Surah 27 is, I think, the one where there's most of the information. But yeah, I mean, uh, there's not a whole lot that we didn't cover. I think we pretty much covered most of it as far as the story of Moses and Pharaoh, because I think I think maybe we didn't go over the dialogue. Uh, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm talking about it like it's an actual story, even though it's real life account. But like Surah 27 is more detailed than that. Like it's more like every exact dialogue that the Moses says and what Pharaoh says. So I really like reading that as well. When if you want to read more about Pharaoh and Moses, I think you can read Surah 27.
Okay.
And we will be reading it in the future in the Quran study as well,
Also,
brother. Very interesting.
at the end of Surah 44 too, there's some information.
Because it's one of the most spoken
Yeah, sorry.
topics. It's one of the most outspoken topics out there,
Yeah, I just
the
want to
story of
correct
Moses.
myself. I said Surah 27, but it's not Surah 27.
28.
Huh?
It's 28, I think. Surah history.
28. Yeah. Yeah, 28. Yeah, exactly.
I knew that from listening to the Quran. That's how,
Sorry.
mashallah.
Yeah.
I've actually had so much like I can like think about specific verses just from listening to
Mm-hmm.
this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so yeah,
What
so
what
there's quite a
It's
lot of verses.
oh, go
Sorry, what's
ahead.
that?
No. I was just gonna say, especially with the nice music and stuff, it trains your memory. Like to
Mm-hmm.
recall certain uh like you could hear I could hear certain verses and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's from Sarah. Those mashallah,
Also, yeah.
the music is
Yeah.
and the recordings are very nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I first recorded it, I finished the recording like I was really excited about it. and my ex-wife, she really hated it. Every time I put it on, she used to tell me to turn it off. And until I
Oh.
stopped listening to it. Then afterwards I started listening to it again, later on. So
Mashallah, yeah.
mashallah.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
real blessing. Mashallah.
Mhm. Mhm. So
That's you again, Suleiman. I hear you 5 times a day.
so
Yeah, the only thing about the Quran recording, brother, it's sometimes the
music is
sound of the
overpowering.
music, yeah, is a little bit
Yeah.
overpowering. Is there a way with AI to change that a little bit? I don't know.
Yeah,
Easy
there
way.
is, but it's still very tedious, to do
Hmm.
that.
I think
Like
like
it's
if you find the bass sometimes, like I never
mhm.
found that issue, but you can adjust the treble and the bass. That's what if you want the but some of the varieties I don't know. I actually like Survey 52. It has more of a deep bass like Mount Sinai, and it almost
Mhm.
like kind of scares you, like in a very good way. Like
Mhm.
when it's talking about the sea is set aflame and stuff. But that's
Mhm.
just my I've been
Yeah. I mean,
uh,
for the music being louder, that is something like I'd have to turn everything into like a sound engineer to
Oh,
do it
okay.
professionally.
I
And
think
oh,
with AI,
separate it or
you can do
something, like
so much
yeah,
separate
better.
to
the
separate it and then
waves.
then turn it down.
Right. Maybe
Yeah.
Suno or something. I know Suno can
Yeah, I mean now we can generate new ones like
uh,
without music too, like and make music like that way also.
Can you give the
But
text and make someone read it with
you
AI?
can let yeah,
no, I
very
mean
good.
like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you can do
Oh.
it with right. I did one for John.
Yeah.
You did. It was very helpful.
Yeah, it's a joke. Like I can't tell you all of it, but
Mm,
I did a recording using 11 Labs, you know,
With
and I
John's
sent
voice?
it. Sent no, not John's voice.
Oh,
It was some British accent,
oh,
you know, voice, very
oh, okay.
dramatic, and I
mhm.
and I and and I did a recited this prayer for John, you know, for his
Oh,
Yes.
health,
okay.
but it's like
Okay.
sort of animated, funny. Yeah, but no, I mean, 11 Labs is very nice. You can use it. They have multiple voices. You can choose the kind of voice. Like they have special voices for documentaries, special voices for reading, you know, different things and dialogues, etc. So you can pick your voice. You can pick the kind of voice that would be most suited for something like reading the Quran, for example. Also, there's
Mhm.
a bunch of voices, you know, and you can pick between like males or females or different accents you can pick, you know, and then
Mm-hmm.
you can tell it to. And they're very good nowadays, you know, like they will pause in certain places, like make it sound very natural, you know, like
Mhm.
they've been improving. I also did a voice clone of my own voice where I could do it too, but I don't use it, you know. But
Mhm.
you can even train your own voice in it, and then you can give it text, and it will read it in your voice, in your accent, in your style. And it
And then it's
was
gonna
you
copy.
yeah, it won't. People won't be able to
That.
tell if it's actually your voice or your clone. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially their latest version is pretty advanced. Anyways,
Mm-hmm.
I think we're kind of digressing from the topic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
brother Suleiman. Um,
yes.
when I'm trying to look something up with AI, it
Uh huh.
doesn't really work for me.
Even the
Can
app.
can you elaborate?
Yeah, like I'm trying to look up certain verses using like only one mention or two, and then it doesn't pop up.
Can you give me like the what you're looking for? Maybe I can help you.
Yeah, like the age of 40, 40.
Uh huh. So okay. So if you search for 40,
Okay, I need to give my car keys to a brother who came to pick the car up. So I'll be gone for 2 minutes and then come back out.
Make a deal.
I will.
I'm gonna share my screen so you can see it better. What will Can you see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what came up for me.
So I type in age of 40, and it's giving me four verses.
Might be because you have to maybe try spelling as in FORTY. See if it comes up, perhaps.
You see? And then it's giving me no results.
can you guys hear me? Okay.
Now we can. Yeah.
Yeah. For some reason, I lost. All voice.
No
Mhm.
problem, brother.
Yeah, so the AI search kind of works differently than the regular search. Um, that's why it's not showing you certain things because it um it tries to look for uh it tries to look for similar words with this text or similar or text with similar meaning, and so um sometimes it will not show certain verses based off of that logic, you know. But yeah, if you don't do the AI search, then it will show you those things. So you're saying the age of 40 verse doesn't show up in any search?
Shows up. I don't think in the AI search, but it does show
Yeah,
up like in
yeah,
verses an exact phrase. It shows
yeah,
up in there, but just not the AI
yeah,
search, like I said.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah.
show for
Because I
me.
think it's because it's indexed for the verses, but not indexed based on the subtitles or the footnotes. That's why. So it's kind of skipping that information altogether because of that. It probably is
Um,
a yeah.
yeah, but it still doesn't show me anything on exact phrase.
Oh,
Because
exact
I think
phrase.
it's it. I think is there an exact phrase? Maybe you're saying somewhere in the Quran where it says age of responsibility. Let me see. I can probably search the other. Okay, yeah. So in right, Appendix 32. What is the age of responsibility? But yeah, you just said it wasn't. Uh, it doesn't show up. It doesn't catch the appendixes.
No, so if you want to search for the appendices, then you have to select appendix.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah.
Wasn't right versus exact verses instead.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so can I look it up?
I'm reading what's the message. Sorry, about did Rashad give specific on the meteor specifics about the time? No, he didn't give the time. He didn't know.
Okay.
Oh, this is from Abdullah, right?
No, it was my question actually.
No, that
Oh,
was
It's
Akif.
just
oh,
to
it's
clarify, it's
oh
an
yeah, about the time
asteroid.
frame. Yeah, yeah. He said
Right.
that he did not know the exact time, but he said he had a feeling that it would happen in 1990, I believe.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but it didn't happen in 1990.
Sorry, John, you were saying?
Oh, I was just saying it's a asteroid because a meteor is I think a lot smaller. I actually looked it up recently. The difference between the three like comets, asteroids, and meteors.
Mhm.
I forget. Like I'll find out, and then I forget what time, and then I have to relook it up.
He says when will it happen? I do not know, but I have a strong feeling that it will take place before the end of 1990. Only God knows the exact time.
Yeah. Okay. But for the future, Suleiman, how can I look up certain verses? Because I still don't know how to figure this out.
Um, you were talking about, so if you're, I mean, you can use AI search, for example, if you're looking for verses with similar meanings, of certain words. But for other verses, you can just do a search on the regular verses or appendices and search based on that, just like Brother John was showing.
Oh, I didn't see anything.
You didn't see anything?
No, I was
You give me.
streaming.
Oh, you were streaming?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. Brother John, do you want to show him again what you were sharing?
Uh, yeah. So if you type in 40, like with the verses and exact phrase, it'll come up.
Yeah.
But I think if you type in appendices, though, I clicked appendices and then just typed responsibility, and it doesn't seem to be queuing um, for some reason.
Yeah, so when I search for age of 40, I literally search for age of 40. Let me share my screen. I can show you. Just share my screen. Start sharing.
Yeah, because I'm looking it up in appendices, exact phrase, and it still doesn't show me anything.
hmm So are you able to see my screen?
Yeah.
So I search for age of 40. So the verse says 40, the age of decision is the subtitle. And it says when he reaches the age of 40.
Your
So
checkbox is on. That's why yours is working. And I think Ashraf's checks, what is it? Checkbox.
checkbox.
Yeah, the whole words and case sensitive. You see those two? If you don't
Mhm.
use them, then AI is not gonna work.
No, no, this is not
Or
AI. This is just regular
the
search.
normal one.
But
Yeah.
if you
But
search just for strictly appendices and then you do exact phrase, all words or any words, any one of those combos, I don't think
mm,
it's
Oh no.
maybe try that. Um,
Even
I
without the
think that I
checkbox, it
think that's
still
what
works.
Brother Achif was saying.
Yeah, it
Actually,
doesn't work for me.
no, no, okay, now it works for me. Maybe you need to wait or like press something else first.
yeah, do you want to share your screen maybe? And we can see
Yeah,
what you're
sure.
saying. Responsibility. So you have selected appendices. Just select the verses.
But I don't think it's in. I think what he's saying, like if you search for responsibility in the Quran, I did earlier with the
hmm
Foxit Reader PDF, it only comes up in Appendix 32, I believe. And so
Hey,
Yeah,
crucial
it's
verses.
referred to
Yes.
as
Okay,
age
you
of
see?
decision.
Now it works. When he pressed verses.
Yeah, but
but
when
shouldn't
I'm
shouldn't Appendix
yeah,
32 come up with unless it's not supposed to come up with only the verses?
yeah, exactly. Like, shouldn't it show up in one of the appendices?
Yeah, Appendix 32 should, I think it should show up, but for some reason it's not.
So okay, so
Because
we
it
can
has
say
a question. Yeah, we can
appendix
figure
32
out.
says the crucial age of 40. What is the age of responsibility, right? And so we're saying if you search for okay, type in age of responsibility.
I tried that too.
Yeah, okay, and uncheck AI search, check for exact phrase, because the thing is that the thing is that the AI search is not really for the appendices, but yeah, it could be broken too. Let me double check.
Yeah, as you
Uh,
can see, it doesn't work.
age of okay, age of responsibility.
It works sometimes.
No, appendices just doesn't. I think it's not working, or yeah, it's not working. So I have to check why appendices is not working. Yeah, looks like appendices might be broken. So thank you for pointing that out, God willing. I have to take a look at that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another thing, brother, can you perhaps lower this, uh, whatever you call this? What would you name it?
The bar,
What?
The what?
the bar.
Yeah, yeah. Could you raise it a little lower? Because it's very sensitive.
I don't understand.
When you read the Quran, you have this bar, brother.
Oh,
Then with the
the
bar,
on
you
the
can go to the right and yeah, on the lower part.
I don't. Oh, you're talking about the which part are you talking about? I'm sorry, I'm confused.
Okay, so you have the
Mm,
green line. You see that
Yeah, yeah.
where it
The
says
scroll bar. Yeah,
2,600? Yeah,
yeah.
the scroll bar. Yes.
Oh, you're saying lower the scroll bar.
But
yeah,
how
yeah.
much lower can he do? It's already very low.
No, because
Right.
it's very
Wait,
sensitive every
the
time you
Okay,
green
okay.
like.
bar at the bottom, because doesn't that just move between chapters? And so, or is it you're
Right.
saying?
I mean, the thing is, like,
It's
we
green.
can remove it. I can just remove it completely because I've seen also that it can, you can accidentally click on it as you're reading through the verses, and then you end up losing your spot.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's very sensitive.
Yeah. So I think like maybe it can be something that can be activated by clicking on a button or something if you want the bar to show up. But otherwise, the bar can probably stay hidden because for me, this is very frustrating too because sometimes, as I'm scrolling through the verses, I accidentally end up touching it and I lose my spot completely.
Yeah, I never used it actually.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
never
because
used the bar.
I would just go to the
Yeah.
hamburger icon in the top
Yeah.
left,
And use
and
that.
then
Yeah.
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 And
That makes
yeah,
sense.
and also when you're reading, when you are going down with your finger, let's say, and you
Mm-hmm.
accidentally press on the numbers, the numbers with the reference to the
Mm-hmm.
verses to other, it goes
Yeah.
immediately. It's very sensitive, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
But how could you like? How can you change that? The
Yeah. I
point
mean,
is that when you press on it, you should go there, right? That's a good function, I think. But you
you
don't
mean
have to
go
search up.
where?
So when you're reading, right, you have let's say there is a reference to another to another verse, and then when you click on it, it directs you to that verse.
Uh yeah.
Also, yeah.
So that's a good feature, right?
Also the appendix, yes, it's a very good one. Like this is really good
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
before you had this,
Mm-hmm.
I needed to stop there, make a screenshot, and
Uh-huh.
then go back, and then it was like more
Uh-huh.
difficult. The only thing is it's very sensitive. When you're reading and
Mm-hmm.
you accidentally press on it, you can like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So
But
don't click on the things that are
yeah,
hyperlinks.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
you need to learn to use it. It takes some time,
Mm-hmm.
but eventually.
Yeah. But the scroll thing I think is a genuine concern because I have myself, fallen trapped to that many times even though I used the app so much.
It's very fast.
Yeah.
I must say, you're really fast. You
Myself.
can go- mashallah.
Yeah, I mean
Oh, I
I
could read
added a
something.
lot of improvements to it. In terms of speed, I'll introduce a lot of caching and for images, for verses, for all these calculating these hyperlinks and stuff. Like a lot goes on in the background, Like when you look at it,
Mashallah.
like you you don't know how much stuff would be needed to optimize it, just to optimize it, for performance.
Mhm.
Yeah, because a lot of that, all of that stuff is it's coming from the internet, right? It's not locally inside the app. It's being fetched from a database online, and so this.
It's very fast in
So,
that case.
yeah.
Is the Quran also like taking it online, or
Yeah, I mean
Oh.
it downloads itself from online and then it saves itself,
Mhm.
until there's
One of the
another
things,
update. Yeah.
yeah, one of the things, brother, I remember was it also takes a lot of data when you use it. When you read, when you listen to certain things on the app, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it really takes a lot of data.
Listen to certain things like audio and videos.
Yes, audios, music, or anything which is there. Yeah.
Yeah, naturally because they're online, right?
No, no, no. It takes much more data than when you would listen to it on YouTube, for example. It's different. I remember.
Uh huh.
I remember like when I used only my phone.
Right, right.
Yeah, like, and I thought, okay, how is that possible? I have like so
Uh
much
huh.
gigabytes, but then,
Uh huh.
you know,
Right.
yeah, I
Everything's
was using it a
almost.
lot.
Uh
The
huh.
songs to
So
listen to the
so the thing
songs.
is
Everything's
that,
unlimited.
sorry, go ahead, John.
No, I was just making a joke that said everything's unlimited nowadays. So
Yeah, anything unlimited now, at least for us in the US.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, yeah,
but
if you're roaming, yeah, you're right. If you're roaming
uh
and you're
huh.
having stuff that could it could add up.
Yeah, yeah, but he's not roaming. He's
Yeah,
always in
it's
the
not roaming.
Netherlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing, I think the reason why it takes more data probably is because the audios, even they're coming from YouTube, and they're actual videos. So if you listen to one of the songs that have a video, it's an actual video player, not an audio player. So that's why it's treating it as a video, and there's more data in a video than an audio.
Yeah, by the way, brother Jafar, I'm gonna take some more prayer mats with me, so everyone can have a prayer mat.
You're gonna bring prayer mats.
What, brother?
Yeah, for
Prayer
He
Jamo.
says
mats.
he's gonna bring more prayer mats for you guys, so you all have prayer mats.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, our new office will be ready within, inshallah, 2 weeks or something like that. We will prepare, God willing, a good place for us to pray.
Mhm. Are you in the prayer mat business or something?
Oh no, no.
Mardani is.
No.
Brother Salim is doing prayer mats. So when I went to Turkey this time, he gave me prayer mats. He had
Oh,
really nice brand new
mashallah.
ones, for us to pray on at his apartment. We did the Friday prayer, and then he
Oh,
gave
mashallah.
one to me, one for Huda, and he gave one for Brother John also.
Oh,
Beautiful.
mashallah.
Where is
So
mine, brother?
you didn't come to visit us. That's why
Yeah,
you
yeah.
missed
Yeah,
yours.
you missed out, brother.
Uh, uh,
Take a hint. No, I'm just kidding.
we will go willing in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
mashallah. Yeah, so if there are no other questions or
comments, then we
other
can
topic
end the
comments, yeah.
study, God willing. So yeah, mashallah, thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Brother Jaffer, for also leading the study. Mashallah. God willing, our next English Quran study would be on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time.